Hey everybody, welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra, here again with Terry Johnson from Firearms Legal Protection, my good friend, expert criminal defense attorney out of Michigan. And we've had several videos on the channel recently, but in particular I want to talk about one out of New York, one out of Buckeye, Arizona, which actually, believe it or not, I flew over Buckeye today, in fact, I'm out learning how to fly. About when aggravated assault is indicated rather than regular assault, because it's one I see people misunderstand on the channel a lot. So let's talk to the attorney. Now more than ever, you need trusted coverage to help you win the fight after the fight. The company I trust and recommend is Firearms Legal Protection. They offer discounts on all their plans at the link in the description. I recommend the premium plan. So I know lighting is kind of weird, deal with me. You're not looking at our ugly mugs as a thing. We're here at the 338 Club at C2, but Terry has watched these videos with me, and I think, you know, the one out of New York in particular, guy's walking away, he gets sucker punched from behind and it knocks him over. It seriously rings his bell. And then, of course, the guy hits him several times while he's down and then kicks him in the face while he's down. We had one out of Buckeye, Arizona. We had another one that was on the channel where a guy got attacked by 3 or 4 people and knocked over, kicked in the face, and these things. So, Terry, where's that line where it's like when somebody is the victim of assault, that's ordinary physical force, and we can only use ordinary force in return. But when they're subject to aggravated assault, now they can use deadly force to stop an aggravated assault. So where's that line?
Great question. So you and I get into a fist fight right now and I start getting my butt kicked. I can't go to lethal force at that point.
Okay.
Because again, I'm just going to call it mutual combatants, or even if you're trying to rob me, well, not even rob me, you just want to fight me for whatever reason, just because I've got on a
because you're so handsome.
Oh, thank you.
Michigan State fan. I don't
Go
know.
Green, there you go. But at that point, the answer would be no, I can't use lethal force. However, if in fact it rises to a level of this is way more than what we started, you pull out a knife, you are physically doing something to me, which I like to call great bodily harm, okay? My jaw's broke, my eye is swollen. I mean, we're getting to that point. That's something different. When I talk great bodily harm, you know, the example I like to use, you know, back in the day, they used to have loan sharks, right?
Okay.
And what would a loan shark do if you didn't pay him back? He wouldn't kill you.
Right, because then he would never get his money back.
Never get his money. But he'd send a message by what? Breaking a finger, breaking a knee, something along those lines. You look at what a loan shark would do. I kind of look at that as great bodily harm.
Okay.
So if something like that is happening, or a weapon is produced, whether it's a knife, whether it's a 2x4, whether it's a firearm, then that rises to the level of what most people would call aggravated assault. There's got to be either like an injury or a weapon produced.
High likelihood of producing an injury. I've heard it said, and I'd love your thoughts on this definition, that if it's highly likely to lead you to hospitalization. So in other words, you broke a bone, you're going to the hospital to get that bone set.
Loan shark.
Yeah, loan shark.
Yep.
If it's going to give you a concussion such that you're going to go get looked at. If it is going to lead to disfigurement.
That is correct.
Or I got to go get stitches, like somebody pulling a knife or something like that. I need surgery.
Yes.
Right? Now we're talking great, not just bodily harm.
Great bodily harm.
Great bodily harm. And
Correct.
that's kind of, what do you think of that line?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay.
You are right on.
So I think somebody punching a normal average person in the face is probably is not likely to lead to great bodily harm.
Correct. Now, I promise you someone right now is typing in the comments, but what if someone is 6'8" and the other person is 5'2"? Again, we're talking everything being equal here. Obviously, if someone is, you know, you've got a disparity of force and size at that point, yes, that would obviously rise to the level.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting attacked by like a world's strongest man competitor.
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. I know he's a world's strongest man competitor. Or I'm getting attacked by a full contact kickboxer.
Correct.
Who I know is capable of really serious assault.
Right.
And I'm medically frail. I know if I get hit in the face, it's going to break this plate in my neck and it could kill me, very likely.
Correct.
You know, my doctor says, hey, don't fall, because if you fall down,
you're not getting up.
You're not getting up.
Right.
Now we've talked about a disparity of force in a special circumstance.
Exactly.
But for most of us.
For most of us, a punch to the face would not be considered a situation of aggravated assault.
Right. And to stop that before it happens, that's why we carry less lethal tools, right? That's why we use things like an OC spray or something like that. That's why we work our empty-handed skills to be able to stop those kinds of assaults. But now, again, likely to cause me a hospitalization. If I'm on the ground and someone kicks me with a foot with a shoe on it, that seems to me, I can generate so much more power with my legs than I can with my arms.
Yes.
And that seems to me to be much more likely to put me in the hospital. And so if somebody's kicking a downed person, now I'm not talking about he's kung fu fighting with a guy on his feet,
Sure.
but I'm talking I get knocked over and a dude starts kicking me, now I'm really at risk for great bodily harm. It would seem to me.
Absolutely, because again, it's escalated at that point. So again, I punch you in the face, you fall down, I don't walk away, I come back and I start kicking you, now you are absolutely right. Or, a couple punches to the face, nothing happens, I walk away, no ag assault. You're down, I'm kicking you, or you know what, I've punched you, you kind of stand there like, now what? Oh, I'm gonna pull a gun on you. Guess what? Ag assault at that point.
Yeah. Does it ever change? Because now this is one I don't know the answer to. So I know our society puts a special emphasis on intimate partner violence, and if that changes things. But so say, is there a category in there that says, wait a minute, well, one domestic partner does violence to the other, that because it's domestic partner violence, it would rise to that level sooner?
Each state does it a little differently. That's no surprise there. There is more, that's more of a justification for using, I'll say physical or lethal force to protect yourself because you're more familiar with your partner. As you well know, a majority of the people who are going to attack us, we don't know. Majority, not exclusive, but my next door neighbor is probably not going to attack me.
Right. But if I knew, hey, my spouse, I'll just use an example here. My wife gets drunk and she gets crazy, and at that point she's got these big long nails, and she gets really violent with those and came after me with them in my face and said, "I'm gonna claw your eyes out." Now I can reasonably be at fear. Guys, if you know my wife, you know that had never happened in a million years. She's the nicest thing ever in the universe and my best friend, and also doesn't get drunk all the time. But if that happened, now I have this intimate knowledge of them, so maybe
Right.
it could.
At that point, you know what Laura's capable of doing.
Right.
And because you know what she's capable of doing, and maybe she's done it before, that's the other thing. Most attackers are not going to attack, unless you're like in 5th grade and you get the bully that gets your milk money every couple of days or whatever. Most attackers are a one-time kind of a deal. So when you talk about circumstances like that, again, you have familiarity with your wife or your attacker. That's something completely different.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know that it adds anything other than I might have a whole lot more knowledge of them. Otherwise, probably the standards are pretty much the same.
Well, the standards are the same, but I would say the odds of you using, let's say, lethal force in a domestic situation probably rise because you know what your other partner is capable of doing.
And of course, guys, when we get into talking about this, I would strongly encourage you, if your partner is capable of violence against you as a person, I would recommend you get out of that situation.
Male or female.
Yeah, it's 50-50 in our society today. So if your partner uses physical violence to get their point across or to get your compliance, I don't think that's healthy, and you should get help and get out of that situation. But for the rest of us, when we're talking about what we see on the channel again and again of assaults, it's that line of, is this going to put you in the hospital? Is it great bodily harm that really where it rises to? And recognize there's going to be that reasonableness standard. Is there that objective evidence that backs up, yes, a reasonable person in your shoes would believe as you did and act as you did?
Right.
So don't be the extremist weirdo. Terry, appreciate the knowledge, man.
Thank you.